Check Please Bay Area is made possible in part by Planet Organics, home delivery of organic produce and groceries to families throughout the Bay Area. Organic turkeys and Thanksgiving items are now available for pre-order on the web at planetorganics.com/KQED. And the KQED Campaign for the Future Program Venture Fund. And the members of KQED.
Hi, I'm Leslie Sbrocco. Welcome to Check Please Bay Area, the show where Bay Area residents review and talk about their favorite restaurants. We have 3 guests, and each one recommends one of their favorite spots. Then the other 2 go to check them out to see what they think. This week, boutique owner Tonya Milteer dodges the cable car on the slopes of Hyde Street to visit her choice. She says it's a place that takes rustic California Mediterranean food to sublime levels. While musician Bryan Kehoe feels that a healthy dose of love should be the main ingredient in every meal. And he finds it along with meltingly tender meat and divine sauces at his barbecue mecca in Oakland. But first, art and antique dealer Mark Jawgiel feels the beauty everywhere he looks when he visits his favorite restaurant. It serves American fare, and it's tucked away in the redwoods of Marin County. He's passionate about it, and it's called the Lark Creek Inn.
Lark Creek Inn was built in 1888. It is a landmark called the Murphy's House. Bradley Ogden was the opening chef, and he brought probably the soul of the Lark Creek Inn.
The food here at Lark Creek Inn is a contemporary American seasonal approach to modern dining, incorporating a weekly trip to the Marin Farmers Market, where we enjoy walking the stalls and being inspired by the colors and the flavors of the season.
And this is complemented by an all-American wine list. We have a very elegant service, but it's still very, very casual and very warm. There is no dress code whatsoever, and we are always happy to welcome families and birthday celebrations and absolutely all kinds of events.
So now, Mark, I know that you celebrate your birthday. It's 29 again, isn't it?
I wish.
Every year at the Lark Creek Inn, but you live in the city. Isn't that a long drive over the Golden Gate Bridge?
It's a long drive, Leslie, but you know what? It's worth it. I go there for many celebrations.
So it is a special occasion place, right? This is people would come in there for a special occasion?
Well, it's a special occasion place or a place where you treat yourself to something special.
Tell me about the food. Tell me about some of your favorite dishes. What do you order every birthday?
Well,
besides cake, of course, and wine.
Okay. Actually, what I love for my birthday is their butterscotch pudding. It's one of my favorite things. That with a candle in it is perfect for me. But I go there. They have really wonderful, uncomplicated, high-quality American food. So I have like the Yankee pot roast when I go there, surrounded by fresh vegetables with a horseradish creme fraiche sauce on top. I'll have a gorgonzola souffle, which is incredible. I'll have oysters, Hog Island oysters. They do wonderful crumbles and cobblers, like a peach blackberry cobbler.
Sounds good. Now, Tonya, tell me about your experience when you went to the Lark Creek. Do you agree? A special occasion spot?
I would put it more as a special occasion spot, more for proposing marriage, more for bringing your in-laws in and taking them to a place they'd be really impressed by. As you drive to the restaurant through those redwoods, you feel like you're someplace else. You walk up to a Victorian that's one of the most gorgeous Victorians I've ever seen. So atmosphere and setting-wise, it takes your breath away. It is gorgeous.
And now food, because this is Bradley Ogden's, sort of signature restaurant. He made his reputation on this restaurant.
There were some dishes that were extraordinary. I had an appetizer. It was called a fig tartine with great piece of goat cheese on the side, toasted bread with this fig spread. I also had a dessert there. It's called chocolate bread pudding. And I've had bread pudding, chocolate or otherwise, all over the city. That's the thing I choose at any restaurant, and it's one of the best I've ever tried.
Oh, that's high praise.
Yes, absolutely. But the main dish was fine. It wasn't the experience that it should be for the prices and for the setting. I had an applewood smoked pork dish, which was great. The meat was great. It was juicy. It was tender. The side, it was called Brentwood corn with kale and black eyed peas.
You have a good memory on that one.
Yeah, it didn't mix together well.
And speaking of high notes, low notes, I'm going to go to the musician here, Mr. Bryan Kehoe of Kehoe Nation.
Hello.
Yes, all right. High notes, low notes.
Well, I have to agree with Mark with the location. It's beautiful. I felt like I was like up the coast on one in a secluded little spot, you know, nestled in the forest there. I thought it was awesome. I really liked the place. Kind of when I walked in, I felt a little bit of an attitude. I mean, you know, I look a little funny anyway.
Well, we weren't going to say anything.
And after the mumbles kind of, you know, toned down a little bit, we had a little problem with the bartender. It seemed like a little, I don't know, they weren't that busy, but it was like a little weird. But the host was amazing. The guy was very nice, very inviting, very sweet man. Sat us down right away. It was really good. But I did have a problem with some of the food. I had a ham hock ravolo, and I felt like the pasta was a little rubbery, but the filling was awesome. I ate it all up. It was good. And then I had a roasted chicken that I really, really liked a lot. And it came with roasted potatoes and, what was it, green beans.
Okay.
I loved it. My lady, on the other hand, she had the Yankee pot roast. It was all right.
You went crazy about it.
Not too crazy, but the butterscotch pudding, on hit, 4 stars. Amazing.
All right.
Amazing. That
All
was
right.
really, really good.
Let's talk about service a little bit, because you know, this is not a white tablecloth restaurant, but certainly a high-end restaurant. And
The server who worked with us, she was training another server. So there was someone shadowing her the whole night. So the service was a little lacking, but I think it's because...
And Mark, what do you think about service?
Well,
because
see,
you've been there so much.
I've been there for 15 years, and almost every time I've gone, the service has been impeccable.
And it's known for its wine list. I mean, you know, you're drinking beer here, but you
I have good wine.
got to have a Guinness, right?
I got a Raffinelli Zinfandel.
Excellent choice.
It was, well, there you go, it was luck.
Excellent choice. And
was
it's an
awesome.
all-American wine list. I mean, in terms of domestic choices, and
Yeah.
they are known for having an excellent selection.
I had a great Navarro Pinot Noir with the dinner. I had the Yankee pot roast, and then I had a little bit afterwards for my butterscotch pudding.
All right, quick summary. Obviously, I can't ask would you go back, because you'll be there
Oh.
again next year for your 29th birthday again. Is that right?
I most certainly will go back.
Okay.
How I feel about Lark Creek Inn, it's like going to a warm, welcoming friend's country house where it's impeccably appointed in an incredibly beautiful setting, indoors and outdoors. And the service has always been wonderful, with a great wine list and helpful people.
All right, Tonya, do you wrap it up for us? Give us your feelings.
I would definitely agree with the atmosphere and the setting. Gorgeous, strikingly gorgeous. The host was wonderful. Overall, I found the experience with the food slightly uneven, and I'm always balancing that against the final bill and whether or not I should have been expecting a little bit more. But this is a place where parents would be impressed, where a future fiancé would be impressed. It's a gorgeous place. I would visit it again. Yeah.
And speaking of future fiancés or
Yes.
fiancées, I know that you
Yes.
have one as well,
Yes,
right?
I'm a lucky man. Lucky,
Yes.
lucky.
So would you have proposed to her at Lark Creek? Will you go
That's
back?
not my
What's your-
vibe.
No. Okay.
No. I have to agree that I love the location, but I have to say that it was a little too expensive, I thought, for the bang for the buck. But one thing I really did like was the fact that they used a lot of organic ingredients and a lot of local farmed, family farm stuff, which I thought was really cool. But I'm glad I went, but I don't think I'd go back.
If you want to experience Lark Creek Inn, it's on Magnolia in the heart of Larkspur. Telephone number is 415-924-7766. It's open every day for lunch and dinner, with brunch served on Sundays. There are private parties on Saturday for lunch. Reservations are certainly recommended, and the average tab per person without drinks is around $40. The cable car rumbling by every 15 minutes is the first reminder that diners at 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar are in the city by the bay. The second is the impossibly romantic view before you step inside.
Kent and I met in a restaurant almost 20 years ago, waiting tables, and I decided a long time ago that I really wanted to be in the kitchen, and that's why we ended up in San Francisco for me to go to the Culinary Academy. And I think I'm really very much a product of the local food scene. I mean, I've never been interested in really high-end cuisine. I prefer much more simple peasant food food you could eat every day.
We wanted to have a place that was a nice little neighborhood restaurant where people would come to once a week without breaking the bank. And so I put a wine list together that was 40 wines under $40, and Pete, made sure that the entrees sort of topped out at around, like low to mid 20s, and away we went. I'm not trying necessarily to be the worldwide wine list. I mean, the food is California Mediterranean, so I draw a lot from the Mediterranean. Well, we get a lot of neighbors, and then we also do get a lot from out of town as well. We have started to see a little bit more of that, but it is primarily neighborhood driven.
Now, Tonya, you're a regular at 1550 Hyde. Tell us why it's worth climbing that hill, working off those calories.
It is completely worth climbing the hill. I've been all over the menu, from appetizers to desserts to main courses. Every dish hits the mark every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, what do you feel? Did you have a great experience there, or?
I really had a wonderful time at 1550 Hyde. I wouldn't say it would hit the mark every time, but I would say that it's certainly worthwhile visiting. The food quality that they serve is incredible. I started with the grilled dayboat scallops that had an arugula fennel salad, and scallops are hard to do because they can get tough quickly, and they seared them perfectly. They were caramelized on the outside and beautifully tender on the inside, and a nice mix of fennel, bulb, and arugula, lightly dressed. It was just a really sublime, wonderful mix of flavors.
Mark's not messing around.
No.
Yeah, no.
Now, did you have this same dish?
My lady had that dish,
Yeah.
and she loved it. I wasn't too crazy about it, but then I'm a little weird with shellfish sometimes anyway.
What
I
did-
had the, sorry.
No, what was the standout for you? Did you
I
have
liked the salad. I had the heirloom tomato, bib lettuce,
Which is what my dining companion had.
green
yeah.
goddess dressing.
with
Loved
green
it.
God. But I want to know Green Goddess. You're a Green
I
Goddess
love
fan.
the green goddess. I don't know where's it been for the last 20 years. Bring the green goddess back.
I am a fan of Green Goddess. Now, what about you, Tonya?
That was my favorite appetizer as well. The night I was there, I had the heirloom tomatoes with the crostini. It had fontina cheese on top.
Oh,
And
see,
it
I got
was
ripped.
fantastic. They were perfect. I hear
Yeah,
that they were the
bright
last
and
of the
sweet.
season, and they were wonderful,
they're
very
gorgeous.
flavorful.
So, Mark, was there a standout dish for you?
I had fried rabbit, which I always order rabbit if I see it on the menu because I don't make it for myself. It was really wonderful. My dining companion had a fettuccine with Berkshire pork and spinach
That's what my lady
Did you
had.
have
and
that?
That's what my
pecorino
lady had.
cheese. And that to me was a little off the mark. Pecorino cheese is a little bit more pungent of a flavor. And with the fresh fettuccine and the very beautifully done braised Berkshire pork, it kind of overpowered the dish. So when I tasted it, that's all I tasted was
work for you.
pecorino cheese.
Now, Tonya, you go there regularly, so have you had this dish before?
That is one dish I haven't had. I always go back to one of their signature dishes. It's called chicken under a brick.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's what I had.
That's eliciting
Yeah.
oohs and ahs here.
Yeah.
So it usually comes with a warm bread salad. There are these chunks of bread that's, soaked in the juices with chanterelle
Panzanella.
mushrooms.
That's-
Now, Brian,
Yes.
talk about the food that you had. Obviously,
Loved it.
you loved everything.
Oh my God, chicken under brick, except it was served with potato puree and spinach, caramelized onions. It's awesome. I loved it. I loved it. It was great. It was crispy skin. It was a fillet. Somehow, I don't know how they take the bones out, and there's dark meat and light meat in there. And it
think
was
it's a
moist
leg
and
and
meaty.
thigh.
Yeah, it was
A
great.
deboned leg and thigh.
It was great. I mean, it was great.
Now, I want to talk, because it's a wine bar, we need to
Yes.
talk a little bit about the wine,
Yes.
right? Because Kent Liggett, who's one of the co-owners, has really put together an amazing list.
Incredible.
And it changes weekly.
Yes.
He does flights, correct?
The time I was there recently, it was called Flight to Rioja.
Rioja,
Yeah,
which
in
is a
Spain.
Spanish
Oh,
wine
that's
region.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so it was
Okay.
one white and two reds, and the essay, there's a short essay on each wine. It talks about the region, lots of detail about the region, the landscape, the family that grows the grapes and produces the wine. I mean, you get an education, even
Yeah,
if
that
you're...
was
Yeah, I had an incredible bottle of wine that was an Olivier Guillot Marsanais. Amazing. extraordinarily well priced for a French Burgundy. You know, that is really, I mean, that's a place to go to try
That's right.
something
You just want to
new.
go back weekly
Absolutely.
to try a little glass of wine.
And very helpful people guiding you, because there are lots of things that you're unfamiliar with, you know.
And you said romantic spot. I mean, you know, let's talk. Is it again a jeans place?
Well,
is it a propose to your future wife place?
I wouldn't call it romantic.
Okay.
I would call it a great place to take somebody to get a feel for San Francisco. But it's fairly stark inside. I mean, it's a beautiful minimalist interior with a gorgeous flower arrangement on the bar. But romantic, it's really borrowed landscape from the outside, so you can see the beautiful tree-lined streets.
It's classic San Francisco.
It's very classic San Francisco.
I think it is romantic because it was low lit. And it was kind of intimate, and they had us in this nice little corner.
Well, but
you don't feel stuffy in there. You don't feel at all right. It's a very casual, comfortable atmosphere.
Right.
Absolutely, and that's part of what makes it romantic, is that you kind of feel like an insider. You know, you're in a great restaurant that most people don't know about. You watch the cable car line go by, and there's something very uncontrived about it.
And dessert.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I had the Scharfenberger dark chocolate pot de creme.
The best.
Okay.
Fancy name for pudding.
Pot de creme, chocolate pudding, a go-go.
Killer. This should be illegal.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
that alone
absolutely
makes the restaurant romantic.
amazing.
Out of control.
Butterscotch pudding, chocolate
See,
pudding.
he's a pudding guy.
I'm a pudding and
He's
pie
a pudding guy.
There's a theme
Yeah, I'm
here.
a pudding and
with
pie
you.
guy.
Right here,
All right.
There we go.
Well,
Smoking. Smoking.
Incredible.
so Tonya, this is your restaurant pick. Why don't you summarize it quickly for us?
Because I love 1550 Hyde, because every time I come, I get an education about wines. I get a solid experience with every dish that I order. There's a freshness of ingredients, there's a quality of ingredients that you notice apart from other restaurants that you'll try in San Francisco, and you really feel special. I feel special every time I come there.
Every time you go now.
Yeah.
Would you go back, Mark?
Oh, absolutely, I would go back. I think that 1550 Hyde has superior quality food. I think it's really one of the quintessential San Francisco treats.
That's fabulous, even after just being in business around 3 years. So, all right, Mr. Kehoe, bring it home for us.
Yes, I agree. San Francisco treat. Old school. Felt like I was in a Dashiell, like I said, Dashiell Hammett novel. Amazing. It was great. All the way around, 4 stars. Loved it.
Loved it. If you want to try the chocolate pudding, as everybody has loved here, try 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar. The telephone is 415-775-1550. Open Tuesday through Sunday for dinner. Reservations are recommended, and the average tab per person without drinks is around $30. Musician Bryan Kehoe travels the nation playing his music and sampling barbecue wherever he goes. He says for meats cooked just right and outstanding sauces, there's no place like Everett and Jones Barbecue in Oakland.
This building dates back to the 1800s. It was actually the site for the first African-American restaurant, so I thought that this would be a wonderful place to have a nice sit-down restaurant. My mom and my 7 sisters and 1 brother and a brother-in-law, we started this business 32 years ago. It's my mom's recipe, it's from Alabama. Our specialty is our homemade beef sausages, which is my mom's recipe. We also serve our sliced beef brisket, which we have a wonderful technique in how we prep it and prepare it and cook it. And we also, of course, our specialty is our ribs. We have 3 rooms here. Our main dining room. We have the middle room, which we call our juke joint, where we have live blues performances there. And then our 3rd room, we call Q's Lounge, is where we have live jazz and R&B, and people can rent it out. It's just a good atmosphere, and we have such a nice experience as well.
All right, Bryan, you're up. You love that saucy, slow-cooked meat.
Yes, I do, Leslie. I sure do.
And why is Everett and Jones your favorite barbecue spot?
It's wonderful. All right,
the other personality now.
Yes, hello, hi, I'm back. Thanks, folks. What they do is they slow cook the meat. Now, let me tell you something about barbecue. When you cook it slow at a low temperature, the proteins render, they fall apart, they break down. That's the cue. That's the cue, the super cue, the way to do it. If you cook that stuff too fast and too much of a high heat, they bind up, they knot up. Not good for the barbecue. Too chewy.
So you like the slow. I didn't realize you were a scientist as well as a
Well, I'm
musician.
not a scientist, but I like the barbecue.
Yeah. All right.
It's different from grilling. It's different. This takes hours and hours and hours. When you just grill, you just pop it in there, have a beer, whatever.
All right,
eat
so
it.
what is your favorite? What is your favorite
Okay,
dish
when you go
for
to
dinner?
Everett and Jones, don't mess around. Don't mess around. You get the pork ribs and you get the beef brisket. I think that's the best.
Pork ribs, beef brisket. Okay.
And the sauce, which is sweet and tangy and a little bit spicy, good mix of acid and the sugars.
Right.
That's the way to go.
You know your barbecue.
You go. I have to go with a medium sauce with the hot on the side because sometimes the hot is a little too.
All right. All right.
So.
And what about the sides?
Sides are always pretty good. I like the candied yams. I like the beans a lot because it's kind of a mixture between like a Boston baked sweet beans and a Texas chili style. So it kind of mixes up the earthy tones with the sweetness. Like it a lot. Love the greens. Smother it with the old crystal hot sauce.
The collard greens.
Love it. And then the other one I like is the potato salad. It's quite delicious as well.
All right. Well, I want to get somebody else's opinion.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Mark.
Okay.
Can you even compare with that, Mark?
You know,
me
I
Potsy.
was really looking forward to going to this place because I love barbecue. I'm from the Midwest. I was raised with barbecue. But when I went to Everett and Jones, I had a horrible experience.
Wow.
The hostess barked at me when I made. First of all, I made a reservation.
I don't think any dogs are
There's a list of names you're supposed to put on there, but I had made a reservation. She came up to me and I said, I have a reservation for 3 people at 7:30. She pulled out a little piece of crumpled paper from her pocket with little tiny writing, and she said, over here, and sat me at the table, threw the menus down, and left.
So you didn't even have to wait because you can wait a long time.
Wait a long.
Yes,
There were a lot
you
of people
sure
waiting.
can, man.
We ordered a lot of food. We ordered 2 orders of chicken and ribs. We ordered 1 order of the chicken brisket and ribs.
So
And
you can get the chicken separately.
Yep.
Then you can order the chicken.
it's like
and
a
brisket,
multiple
right.
choice menu.
Yeah.
You can get
Right.
1, 2, 3, and then you get 2 sides with each order that you get,
And you can
a,
order
and a
the
corn muffin.
spicy.
We ordered 1 order with the hot sauce on it. The hot sauce was, the medium sauce was good. It was very good. It was tangy, like you said. It was sweet and tangy and wonderful. The hot sauce is the medium sauce with a jar of hot chili pepper flakes. It's hot like, whoa, that's hot.
All right, Tonya, I'm going to let you get a word in edgewise with these two because clearly we're going back and forth here.
I did have the brisket, the beef brisket. I thought the meat was very well cooked. I thought it was tender. The pork ribs, the meat was pretty good. It was a little bit on the fatty side. I did also have that experience with having the hot sauce on the side and only being able to recognize it as hot because of all those chili flakes. I found the potato salad and the coleslaw, they put a sweet dill in both
In the
sides
coleslaw.
that just
Yeah.
overpowers everything. I had the socket to me dessert cake. It was a lemon cake with a white
She doesn't
frosting.
mean that literally, Brian. Don't sock
No wrestling match today.
It was a lemon cake. It had cinnamon swirls through it and white frosting.
All right, Brian, this is your restaurant. Give us a quick wrap up.
I love it. Like I said, I gotta say, I understand sometimes the consistency is a little bit off, but once you have that 4-star on-hit rib, you're gonna be hooked. You're gonna go back every time.
Brian loves it. Mark, give us your wrap.
Thumbs up for sweet
All
potato
right.
pie. And you know what? Everett and Jones has takeout. If you want barbecue, take it out and go to your comfortable home and, turn
make
on
sure to get the sweet potato
turn on
pie.
PBS and watch a nice show.
Tonya?
I fall somewhere in the middle. I thought some dishes were pretty good. I thought the beef brisket was very nice. In terms of an overall barbecue experience, there's too much emphasis on sweet, not enough savories and spices, and I like that in my barbecue. I wouldn't come back, but I do understand the general appeal of the place.
All right. If you'd like to try Everett and Jones Barbecue, it's located on Broadway Street at Jack London Square. The telephone is 510-663-2350. It's open every day for lunch and dinner. Reservations are recommended, and the average tab per person is around $20. So on this week's show, we featured the Lark Creek Inn in Larkspur, 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar on Hyde in San Francisco, and Everett and Jones Barbecue, Jack London Square in Oakland. Let's recap what our guests had to say. The Lark Creek Inn. For Mark, it's like visiting a friend's warm country house with an impeccable setting, service, and food. Tonya says yes, the atmosphere is strikingly gorgeous. It's the perfect place to impress your parents, in-laws, or for marriage proposals. While it wasn't quite Bryan's vibe, he gives the bread pudding high scores and especially likes the emphasis on local, organic ingredients. And 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar, Tonya makes it a regular stop for its superior quality food, incredible service, and great ambiance. Mark says it's the place for a classic San Francisco treat with a great setting inside and out. Bryan gives it all around 4 stars and says don't forget to try the pudding. And last, Everett and Jones. Bryan loves it hands down. When you get that hit-on plate of ribs, you'll be hooked. And don't forget a cold, saucy sister ale. While Mark didn't care for the unfriendly service, he would go back for the takeout and the sweet potato pie. Things were a bit too sweet for Tonya's taste, but she thinks the beef brisket is very nice. We've had a wonderfully fun time this week, so I want to thank my guests, Mark Jawgiel, Tonya Milteer, and Bryan Kehoe. Join us next week when 3 new guests will recommend their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please Bay Area. I'm Leslie Sbrocco, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For specific locations and hours of the restaurants featured, or to apply to be on the show, go to kqed.org/checkplease. Check Please Bay Area is made possible in part by Planet Organics, home delivery of organic produce and groceries to families throughout the Bay Area. Organic turkeys and Thanksgiving items are now available for pre-order on the web at planetorganics.com/KQED. And the KQED Campaign for the Future Program Venture Fund. And the members of KQED. A KQED television production.
Phone is 510-663-2350. It's open every day for lunch and dinner. Reservations are recommended, and the average tab per person is around $20. So on this week's show, we featured the Lark Creek Inn in Larkspur, 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar on Hyde in San Francisco, and Everett and Jones Barbecue, Jack London Square in Oakland. Let's recap what our guests had to say. The Lark Creek Inn. For Mark, it's like visiting a friend's warm country house with an impeccable setting, service, and food. Tonya says yes, the atmosphere is strikingly gorgeous. It's the perfect place to impress your parents, in-laws, or for marriage proposals. While it wasn't quite Bryan's vibe, he gives the bread pudding high scores and especially likes the emphasis on local, organic ingredients. And 1550 Hyde Cafe and Wine Bar, Tonya makes it a regular stop for its superior quality food, incredible service, and great ambiance. Mark says it's the place for a classic San Francisco treat with a great setting inside and out. Bryan gives it all around 4 stars and says don't forget to try the pudding. And last, Everett and Jones. Bryan loves it hands down. When you get that hit-on plate of ribs, you'll be hooked. And don't forget a cold, saucy sister ale. While Mark didn't care for the unfriendly service, he would go back for the takeout and the sweet potato pie. Things were a bit too sweet for Tonya's taste, but she thinks the beef brisket is very nice. We've had a wonderfully fun time this week, so I want to thank my guests, Mark Jawgiel, Tonya Milteer, and Bryan Kehoe. Join us next week when 3 new guests will recommend their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please Bay Area. I'm Leslie Sbrocco, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For specific locations and hours of the restaurants featured, or to apply to be on the show, go to kqed.org/checkplease. Check Please Bay Area is made possible in part by Planet Organics, home delivery of organic produce and groceries to families throughout the Bay Area. Organic turkeys and Thanksgiving items are now available for pre-order on the web at planetorganics.com/KQED. And the KQED Campaign for the Future Program Venture Fund. And the members of KQED. A KQED television production.